The zero index, or another way of saying this, is anything to the power of zero. So anything to the power of zero. Now I'm going to take my calculator here, and you can actually try this, and it'll work for any number. You can put any number in. So let's say 3 power of 0 is equal to, well, it's equal to 1. What about 7? 7 to the power of 0 is equal to, well, that's equal to 1 as well. Okay. What about a 420 to the power of 0? 1 to 0. So equal to. Well, so basically the whole video then must just say, well, anything to the power of 0, doesn't matter what you have, it's always going to be equal to. Now, that would be a very easy spot for me to finish, okay? But have you ever wondered why anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1? Because it's not so intuitive. Like, I've got a 0 in here, and for some reason, if I take a power of 0, I get something in return. Like, that seems a bit weird. Normally when we have zeros, we've got nothing. Is x to the power of 0 is equal to... Why is it equal to... What we're going to do is we're going to do a little proof by example. Like a little reasoning. This is like the idea of why this works. So let's have a look at it, and we'll have a look at this particular example. The particular example we're going to look at is going to be this one. But, we'll do it with numbers, because numbers are a bit easier to understand. Let's say we'll do an easy one. We'll go 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 3. And we'll start off by looking at the index laws. Okay, we'll look at the index laws. So when we have two bases, regardless of what the powers are, and you're dividing those, okay, well, what do you do with the powers? Well, in our previous video, okay, we said that, well, you've got to subtract the powers. Subtract the powers, so 2 to the power of 3 minus 3. So that means that this must be equal to 2 to the power of 0. Why does that help me? Well, let's think of them as numbers instead of indices. 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 3. Well, what is 2 to the power of 3 equal to? Like, if I actually said to you, tell me, what is 2 to the power of 3? Like, what number is that? Well, 2 to the power of 3 is just equal to 8, isn't it? Power of 3 is equal to 8, because it's 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times by another 2 is 8, not plus, times. So this is just another way of saying, well, what is 8 divided by 8 equal to? If I had 8 things, and I wanted to divide them up into 8 equal groups, how many would go in each group? 8 divided by 8 is really easy. We can do that one. That's just equal to 1, isn't it? Well, hang on a second. We just said up here that 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 3 was equal to 2 to the power of 0. But down here, we said 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 3. Well, that's just equal to 1. So that must mean that if 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 3 is equal to 2 to the power of 0, and 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 3 is equal to 1, then 2 to the power of 0 must be equal to 1. And so this is the reason why, and this works with any number, okay? So if you pick any base, as long as the bases are the same, and you pick any power, again, so long as when you subtract the powers, you get the same number, well, you're using the same number, you get 0. If you use this with anything, it'll work, and you'll get an answer that gives you 1. Because the ultimate thing is, in this step here, you're taking, or you're dividing the number by itself, regardless of what it is. Okay? And to get to 2 to the power of 0, you must be dividing by the same base, and to get to that 0, you must be dividing it by that same power. So you're dividing something by itself, which will always be equal to 0. Oh, well, 1, sorry. Let's look at some examples of this. Okay, let's do this in action. Now, make it a bit easy. There's like 3 types of examples you'll see. Go like this one. We want x to the power of 0. Okay. The second ones usually look like this. This 5x power of 0. And the third ones usually looks Okay? And then you can have a combination of any of these types, okay? But you've just got to be careful with your combinations that you simplify the indices first. Okay, well, let's start with this first one. X to the power of 0. Well, what's x to the power of 0 equal to? We just worked this out. Anything to the power of 0 is going to be equal to 1, okay, regardless of what the base is. Okay, and that's actually going to help us with the second one. 5x all to the power of 0. You need to take this, or everything that's on the inside, and apply this 0 to it to the power of 0. Okay, so in other words, all of 5x to the power of 0, okay, is like this 5x, everything on the inside is to the power of 0. Okay, so this one here is also just equal to 1 because everything's on the inside with it. Now you may notice a little difference between these two here. On number 2, we had the brackets, but in number 3, we don't. And that's because the 5 and the x are separate from each other, okay? They were together because they were included within the brackets and then had the 0 applied to them. But for 3, they are actually separate entities, okay? They're being dealt with separately. So let's see how they're dealt with. 5x to the power of 0. What's between a letter and a number, usually, in algebra? Well, this is just saying 5 times x, isn't it? And, well, we know what x to the power of 0 is. X to the power of 0, well, we did that over here. That's equal to 1. So this is the same as 5 times 1. Okay, 5 times 1. And what's 5 times 1 equal to? 5, okay? So you've just got to be a little bit careful with those. And we might just do one more, show you guys how this can be applied in like more than one step. So you might have one that looks like this: 2y to the power of 0 minus 3y all to the power of 0. Okay? So just take it step by step. Okay? This is 2 times y to the 0 minus, and then everything to the power of 0. So this one, well, what's y to the power of 0 equal to? Well, that's just 1. So this is the same as saying 2 times 1 minus, and then 3y all to the power of 0. Well, if everything's to the power of 0, then that's just equal to 1 there. So this is the same as 2 minus 1, just equal to 1. And that's a very long way of me saying what's 2 take away 1 equal to. With that being said, that is the end of this video, and I hope that's helped you guys out